the end of today of what's going on and make sure that you're getting all your questions answered. But these are just the different types of things we pick up on the angiogram. This condition, central serous, is usually in a little younger age group, but it does blend across in the 40s and 50s and can kind of look like macular degeneration, even wet macular degeneration. At this stage, you know, has a real good outcome. 15 minutes. I got like 2.5 hours left. I'm just getting warmed up. Okay. Then there's another dye, indocyanin green, and it basically allows us to image at different structures, okay? It just gives us kind of, we can see through the blood a little better. So if they start talking about these different dyes, it's just that we use a different light to look at it. It's in the infrared, so the longer wavelength red lights penetrate deeper into the tissue, gets through blood a little better. And so we're trying to do things that will give us a better idea of where your pathology is so we can target the treatment better. And so, you know, most of us nowadays don't get angiograms every time you walk in, but periodically, maybe initially, or when there's changes that occur through your vision, the angiogram is certainly a very important piece, in my hands at least, to help me stay on top of the changes in your eye. Now you can see the gray coming in. The teenagers are up, you know, staying out late, coming home late. The gray's coming on. It's not the job. It's not you guys. Trust me, it's the teenagers. Michael, you're going to find that one out. I'm praying for you. I hope you know, compliant children, it's a nice thing. Usually it's about a 50-50. God's got a way of making us realize as parents that we don't have it all figured out. So anyway, the optical coherence tomography it's like a CAT scan, but it has no radiation associated. It's just white light that is shown into your eye, and then it's reflected back, and the scanners pick it up and analyze it, and the computer programs have been written to look at the reflected light coming back and put it into an image that we can understand. So this technology is revolutionary. It is amazing that you can sit there at under a minute per eye, that we can look at the detail of your macula, which for us was basically only seen if you died and gave up your eye to science, and we were basically looking at it with the pathologists in the laboratory. And this detail that we're seeing is rivaling the detail we see under a microscope. I mean, we're seeing cellular elements of the macula, photoreceptors, 110 million of them, you know, that are carrying the light information and turning it into an image in your brain. So this scan is like a little slice through the cake, and you're looking at the layers of the cake on a cross-sectional area, and then it takes multiple slices, and actually we can generate a three-dimensional image now and actually see it in 3 dimensions and turn it around and look through the layers, and it's just amazing. I could sit on that thing looking at it most of the day, but you gotta keep moving, you know how that goes. So it's a light-based thing. There's several different scanners out there. The technology is fantastic. It allows us to really understand what layers are affected, cysts, things like that come out. You can see on this scan, if you're looking at the image up on the right, that's a OCT image, and you can see that little bump in the retina and that kind of dense surface, that dense structure on that bottom layer that's kind of poking up and creating that bump. So that's a little deep scar tissue, probably was an active blood vessel membrane. This might have been after some treatment with Lucentis, Avastin, Macugen, or I guess I can't say it. I can say that here, can't I? I can say that stuff here. We don't have the CME police. So that's good. Can't even get a sandwich anymore. You know? But anyway, we won't go there. And then you also right above that, you see that little line, that little white line that comes across the top and connects to the ridge. That's the jelly in your eye, the vitreous. And it's like a jellyfish. It's about the same consistency. It's a collagen and water structure. And that starts to separate. When it really pops free, that's the big floaters that you get. It's like looking through a hazy veil. Well, that's looking through that jelly once it separates away from the retina. So here we're seeing that early separation. Next to that dark structure on either side, you can see kind of the black areas, and that's fluid, that's leakage. You know, we want that to go away, because the more compact we make that tissue by getting rid of that fluid, edema, inflammation, you know, usually it translates into better vision. And so we're anatomically able to follow our treatment course and decide if what we're doing is effective. And as we get better looking anatomy on these scans, sometimes there's a delay, sometimes it even takes months, but all of a sudden the body's back in position to heal itself, and we're seeing that your vision is slowly coming around. So the longer we can keep that anatomy in its normal position through different treatments that will be covered here, the better shot you have of these photoreceptors regenerating, rebuilding themselves, strengthening themselves, and your vision improves with that. So that's the power of this technology, is for us to really follow the course of treatment. What if that's getting worse? We're on the wrong course, you know? You don't keep losing the game. If you got a losing strategy, it's time to change the strategy. If you're winning the game, unlike some professional teams we know, don't change the game strategy, just keep winning. So, you know, that's all part of how we use this exam to come in and better understand and, you know, try to point you in the right direction of the treatment. Another one of Mark's illustrations, you can see on the color photograph on your left, kind of a whitish area in the middle, and that's a little scar tissue. The scan below shows that little bump, that little blister, and then you can see that overlying layer of your retina has got a lot of little empty dark spaces, and that's fluid, that's cysts, that affects your vision. So whatever we can do to shrink that down usually will translate into you seeing better. The illustration on your right shows that little pesky blood vessel from deep down under, and it's breaking through that little membrane of visqueen that I told you about, like the weed popping up. Dandelions, I hear you on that one. Mine's dollar weed, so it just bugs you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's no time to go get it. But anyway, so you can see that blood vessel bursting through there, growing under the retina, and those little square brown things with little tiny dots in the middle, if you can see it, that's the pigment layer. And that's what this disease is all about, is kind of a weakness in that pigment layer. That's where light eyes don't have as much pigment, are more prone to it, than dark eyes. We got a lot of attorneys in here today, don't we? I feel well represented if anything comes down. Like no trips and falls around here, okay? So anyway, then the overlying photoreceptors you can see, they just gave me another 20 minutes. But the OCT with this is another scan, see a little scar tissue, a little bit of fluid under there. So when you're getting your scan, just wheel your chair around and take a look. I mean, you know, I think this is great education. I had to put this one in. This has nothing to do with macular degeneration. This is a really cool slide, and that shows that membrane pulling on the macula and causing that big elevation right in the center with these cysts. So that kind of acts like macular degeneration because your central vision gets faded, but that's not macular degeneration. That may either spontaneously separate, releasing that, or surgically, 3 weeks after a surgical procedure, you could see that we're back down to that little central divot in the middle, which is a good indication that macula is getting healthier. So that type of thing is very easily distinguishable with the OCT technology. It's not as clear-cut when we're examining the eye at the microscope, and it acts like a little macular degeneration coming on, but we can see clearly that it wasn't. So that's the value of that technology. There's some other testing devices, again, trying to help us predict the severity, the odds that you may go into wet macular degeneration. And some of this new technology is going to be useful as we go on, really keeping our patients under closer watch that may have higher risk of going into wet. So we're very pleased about that. One last thing I want to mention, I'm probably a little ahead of schedule. is Joan Sidoff over there. She's with Comprehensive Home Health, and Joan really developed an incredible program, low vision with home health. And it's a Medicare provided service. She got national recognition, training occupational therapists to basically go into the home, and we know how important that can be, and really take people where they're at and try to encourage them, show what low vision aids are, which is all part of what we do. It all ties together into that complete package of really getting you up to a functional level. So I hope this day takes away the fear, which there's a lot of it, and our job is to take away that fear. You're not going blind, you're not going to lose your vision completely with this disorder, but it does need to be very carefully monitored. Thank you.